All right. John, you want to get us some for real or fugazis here?
I'd love to.
Let's do it. All right, let's do it. I've got a handful of them here. By the way, if you want to email us, we're going to do a mailbag episode later this week. Email us at houmailbag@gmail.com. That's where you send your questions. And John and I do a mailbag episode every Wednesday. We record. And so get them to us before Wednesday morning. houmailbag@gmail.com. It can be about Texans minicamp, JJ Watt, Astros, Rockets, anything, mostly football, but whatever it is, life, TV, movies, whatever, hit us with that. And we would love to hear from you. houmailbag@gmail.com. All right, for real or fugazi, those of you who listen know, but those of you who are new to the podcast, for real or fugazi, we play it this way. I read a sentence as if it is fact. I pose it to John McClain, and if he agrees with it, he thinks it's true, he says for real. And if he thinks that I am out of my tree, off my rocker, I'm saying false things, he says
Fugazi.
Fugazi. It's Italian for counterfeit. You Sopranos fans know. All right, John, let's get it started here. We'll stick with Laramie Tunsil as a topic. Laramie Tunsil not being at OTAs, given that he's the captain of the team, still no big deal. For real or fugazi?
I think that's for real. I think players understand the situation with a veteran like that who plays well. It's not like his game's going to suffer, and if it does, it's not because he wasn't at OTAs.
All right, so let's Tunsil being there. No, I like your point that they gave some other guys a chance to get some reps. Does you feel like it hinders that? Like it's a new offense they're installing here. Is that an issue you think at all with Laramie not being there?
I don't think it will be with them. I think it'll be pretty simple for left tackle. Most of the time they're going horizontally in this new system instead of vertically.
Yep.
And a guy's going to hurt, and he was there as left guard Kenyon Green recovering from knee surgery.
Yeah.
And they used a lot of different left guards. And I'm not sure when he'll come back, if they'll baby him at training camp. But at least he's been there for the mental portion. And that's the most important thing about the offseason program anyway.
All right, John, next one. Saquon Barkley is not in Giants minicamp. He hasn't signed his franchise tender yet, so he's not going to get fined or anything, but he is staying away from the team till he gets a new deal. For real or fugazi, John, Saquon Barkley is going to pull a Le'Veon Bell and hold out this season.
Fugazi. All he's got to do is look back at Le'Veon Bell's career. Now he's a boxer or a wrestler, and he's admitted he made a mistake sitting out, because once you sit out a season, and now Trent Williams is the difference. He sat out a season here in Houston. He came back, played great for the 49ers, but I think it's easier for an offensive tackle than it is for a running back. And I think they're trying to make the playoffs again. He's going to make $10.1 million. Maybe they'll sign him to a new deal, but I think he will be there.
All right. So just as a follow-up to that, John, do you think he holds out at all, or is he with the team by week one?
I think he'll be there by week one, because that's when the big bucks start coming, and you don't want to lose those game checks.
Yeah, I know. But some guys have been willing to lose them more. Well, I guess Le'Veon's probably the last biggest one. I just remember Dwayne Brown, John, you and I were saying that in 2017, like he's not going to want to lose $500,000 each week. And like, sure enough, Dwayne Brown was willing to do that back in the day with the Texans.
He lost several $1 million. He wanted to be gone. He came in for one game at Seattle. I remember going to him the next morning saying, you should have stayed in Seattle. You're about to get traded there.
Yeah.
And he was, and then they gave him a new deal to help him make up for the money he lost.
Yeah. Did you say that to him for real? Like you said, just stay in Seattle. That's where you're going.
I did.
Yeah, you were right. All right, next one, John. Dalvin Cook to the Dolphins makes too much sense. For real or fugazi?
For real, it does. He's from there. His college is in Florida, and he's got stuff left in the tank. That guy took his place, Madison. He's under a lot of pressure for a team that went 13-4. It's amazing the players they've let go after a season like that. To get a new GM 2 years ago, you get a new head coach. 2 years ago, you're going to make changes, because a lot of people think that those 10 wins they had by one score, that those were by luck. But boy, it's hard for the fans to be pumped when you've let so many players go. Now there's talk at defensive end Danielle Hunter, who's from Houston, that they're trying to trade him as well. And people ask me if he'd be a good fit here. Well, he's going to be 29. If they could make it work financially, sure. He's a good pass rusher, played 17 games, had 10.5 sacks. But I tell you, at this point in his career, guys want money.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they're going to get that here.
As a follow-up to that, I want to circle back to Dalvin Cook in just a second, but my next for real or Fugazi was along those lines because they cut Cook, they traded Zadarius Smith. You know, it is a weird thing going on in Minnesota for a team that won 13 games last year. For real or Fugazi, the Vikings are cratering for Caleb in 2023.
Fugazi, they're not going to be that bad. They know they're not going to be that bad. They still may win the division with a record a lot worse than 13-4. Everybody's picking Detroit. We know Chicago's not going to be the division winner. We don't know about the Packers and Love, but I'm going to say they're not either. So the Vikings could still win, and I don't think they'd be in any position at all to be able to get Caleb Williams or Drake May or trade up because it would be too costly. I think they must have serious cap issues. Or they got good players behind the scenes that they believe in who are going to be promoted.
Okay, yeah. It sure feels like the former. It feels like a strip down that's going on there. Cook, by the way, John, the odds online, the Vegas odds, have the Dolphins as even money. So basically 1-to-1 odd. Bet $1, win $1 on the Miami Dolphins. The other teams for Dalvin Cook near the top of the leaderboard, New York Jets, 5-2. Buffalo Bills 5-1, Cincinnati Bengals 10-1, Dallas Cowboys 10-1. Dallas Cowboys would be interesting. They've got, unless they're going to lean on Tony Pollard a whole lot more, and I don't think he's that style of back that you lean on him. The Cowboys and Dalvin Cook, and we know Jerry Jones likes to make splashes. That one could make a lot of sense as they're trying to keep up with the Eagles this season.
And Pollard signed his franchise tag because that's more money than he ever dreamed about making. But he's coming off an injury. They better get another back. They may be open. Zeke Elliott decides to come back with his hat in hand, taking a lot less money because he's not getting what he wants with other organizations. But Dalvin Cook for the Cowboys as the starter with Pollard rotating like they did before, that would be pretty unbelievable if you're a Cowboy fan. So with the Jets, they got two bags, but Brees Hall's coming off the knee surgery, but they're all in on this season. I don't see them being the team. Thought Denver might be, but they had a story up there. It's not going to be the Broncos. So it's almost like it's Miami or bust, which is not good for him getting paid. He needs competition.
Yeah. Do you think Chase Young gets traded by Washington, John?
Boy, they got a good defensive line. If they don't trade him by the deadline, before I trade him, I'd want to see him healthy. He hadn't been healthy. And that they'd want a lot for him, and he's going to want a whole lot of money if he stays healthy. I'd wait till the trade deadline, find some Super Bowl or playoff team that needs a pass rusher, and then unload.
All right, a few more for real or Fugazis here, John. Non-football variety. For real or Fugazi, the Astros 2023 season is cursed.
Oh boy, I'm going to say Fugazi because they got injuries. But how do you account for all the players who are healthy, who are real good, not playing the way they're capable?
Yeah.
Last outing, Javier didn't pitch the way he's capable. Fromber didn't. Hunter Brown lost 2 in a row. Those guys need to play. And so, Alvarez gets hurt every year, so that's not surprising.
No. All right, John, for real or Fugazi, there's rumors circulating that the Rockets, if they don't get James Harden, could be in on Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving coming to the Rockets would have you questioning your Rockets fandom. For real or Fugazi?
For real.
Yeah.
James Harden would have me question it. Kyrie Irving would make me not pay any attention to him because the guy hurts every franchise he goes to. I just don't understand. They got a good thing going with young players. They're going to get another one 4th overall if they don't trade up. Yeah. And why would you want to expose them to two guys with the attitude, the culture, and the character that they have displayed?
Yeah, the Kyrie thing, man. I went through these numbers on the show this morning. without LeBron James as a teammate, he's never been a part of a team that's made it past the conference semifinals. He was on the roster with the Celtics when they made it to the conference finals in 2018, but he didn't play that postseason. They made it to the conference finals without Kyrie Irving, and he was supposedly their best player. And he just leaves a trail wherever he goes, man, whether it's demanding out of Cleveland or all the chicanery, the on again, off again stuff with the Celtics his last year there. Obviously, the Brooklyn thing was kind of crazy all the way around with Durant and Harden and Kyrie. Kyrie was the craziest of the three. And then Dallas, just the most recent one. Dallas traded for him thinking that was going to get them in the mix in the West. They wind up tanking games at the end of the year just to make sure they get to keep their pick in the lottery. It was crazy. Kyrie's sizzle reel is great. If you watch him on YouTube and just his highlights, he's incredible. But man, he just does not bring winning with him anywhere that he goes.
And who would have thought that when he came into the NBA after watching his college career? Of every team he's been in, do you see any players, any media, any fans say that team made a mistake getting rid of him, or do they long for Kyrie Irving? No.
Not that I can think of for sure. All right, last one, John. For real or Fugazi? Mark Berman will still break news even in retirement.
Fugazi. He's out. He doesn't want to have anything to do like that anymore. I don't even know if we'll see him in town. He lives outside town. And he told them at Fox, if he can help the new guy, he'll do anything they need him to do. But he's been talking to me about retiring for over a year. Now it's come to fruition. I do not see Mark doing that.
Do you think he shows up at games as a fan and things like that? Or you think he just totally unplugs?
He will totally unplug, but he and I and his grandson, Jackson, will be going to some Astros games together.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's good. I hope to see him still around. I like Mark a lot. He is the man. Who's going to break all the news now, John?
The people that are happy that he's retiring are his competition.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to do what Berman did. Berman wrote more stories. He's the best reporter I've ever seen print or broadcast. And he does a lot for Houston. He does stuff, high schools. I've had so many players through the years with other teams say, how's Mark Berman doing? I say, how do you know Berman? I'm from Houston.
Yep.
He was at my house with me and my parents when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So he's going to be missed by a lot of people. And I hope the viewers at Fox understand what an important part of the Houston sports scene he's been.
John, I, as a colleague, and I almost feel like stretching when I call a colleague because I think Berman is without peer, but I just think of the stuff he provides for us, just the videos that he puts up. Content for people in our business, just in terms of he's the one hustling out there to get interviews and things like that others are not willing to go do that work. I mean, a lot of it with Berman is just plain hard work,
So his work ethic and his pride in his job. He never had an opinion. I told him one time, I said, I bet your footballs are sore from straddling the fence all the time, but that's what he was all about, getting stories, getting scoops, getting news.
All right, a reminder.